Winterthur is renowned in the art restoration world. Currently, it's part of an international art mystery. It focuses on Pablo Picasso's The Blue Room, and more importantly, what's hidden underneath that masterpiece. First Look sets the stage, which extends from Paris to Washington, D.C. to right here in Delaware. This is The Blue Room, painted by Pablo Picasso in 1901. It's an important work in its own right, representing the start of Picasso's blue period.
It is a color that's associated with a kind of melancholy and emotional qualities that he injects into his painting.
But there's something very intriguing about this internationally acclaimed painting, and it's hiding just beneath the surface.
If you just look at the painting, you can see that the texture of the paint doesn't match the image that we see. So that's a clue to know that there's something underneath.
This hidden painting was first suspected in the 1950s, but art conservators at the time had little technology to help them discover who or what was hidden beneath the Blue Room. Fast forward 5 or 6 decades and technology is finally able to piece together the mystery. We traveled to Washington, D.C. to meet with Patty Favero at the Phillips Collection, which is home to the Blue Room.
I can see here that these strokes match these, and so I can interpret that these strokes that we see in the infrared are actually underneath.
Favero has spent hundreds of hours trying to learn more about the hidden man beneath the painting.
I wanted to see if we could either get a better image or just learn more about the painting to see if we could get some clues to identify the sitter, and also the Blue Room itself is such an important painting in Picasso's early work.
To further the investigation, Favero turned to an expert at Winterthur in Delaware to get a better idea of what the hidden painting looked like.
So that's the top painting, that blue line at the top. And then this is the bottom painting underneath, which you can see is very thick.
Jennifer Mass is a senior conservation specialist at Winterthur. One primitive method of studying the painting was to take a microscopic piece out of the painting and examine it.
This is reflected visible light and ultraviolet light microscope, and we use this to look at tiny paint samples in cross sections. So literally, like you would take a slice of a piece of cake and then see the layers in cross section, we can see the paint layers in cross section from the Picasso that we're studying here. Mass also connected with researchers at Cornell University that she had worked with to develop what's called confocal X-ray fluorescence, which is a microscope that allows you to do what we call depth profiling, where you define a focal point for the X-ray beam, and so you're going sort of micrometer by micrometer through the paint layers and getting elemental information. Back in D.C., the team also got help from John Delaney at the National Gallery of Art.
Where I see it, it's probably the most complete study of any of the Blue Period paintings in terms of technically. They have a good understanding of what the palette is, what the distribution of paint is, how it relates to the final composition, and they're probably very close to knowing who maybe the sitter would be.
So what does the man hidden beneath the Blue Room look like in color? It's a difficult question with no easy answer.
The conservators and curators are working with us to pour through this data and come up with what will ultimately be likely done in a program like Photoshop to sort of fill in and reconstruct what the painting would have looked like originally.
I would like to do a color approximation of the painting underneath, but that presents its own issues. We certainly don't want to suggest something that isn't there and then give that to the art historian and say, here it is, this is what it looked like.
And what they've learned from the Blue Room can now be applied to other works.
So there's a lot of paintings that have been modified and changed that people want to understand, and this is just giving a whole new opportunity to look at it.
For these conservators and art historians, unraveling this mystery means the discovery of another masterpiece. We're really bringing new Picasso to light for art historians to study and for the public to see for the first time.
Fascination is the only word that can describe it best. This kind of compelling story about this seemingly finished portrait underneath this iconic work.
I think it's a pretty significant discovery that we made. It was only possible with the collaboration. It took everybody involved to figure this out.
The painting has been on display in South Korea, but is returning for an exhibition at the Phillips in Washington through the summer before heading out on yet another loan period.
This is so interesting, but Mark, how do they figure out the colors without specialty cameras, microscopes, and other technology?
It really is a primitive, almost barbaric way. Believe it or not, they would surgically remove a microscopic piece of the painting, say the size of a period in the newspaper.
Oh my gosh.
Then they would study that under a microscope. Obviously, you can only do that in very limited areas of the painting. So the new higher tech methods and cameras, obviously much more preferable.
And Winterthur obviously putting itself right in the middle of all this international intrigue.
It really is an internationally renowned painting. People all over the world calling at Winterthur, also at the Phillips, just to learn more about the painting and the latest of what they've uncovered there. There are tentative plans for an exhibit documenting the work that you saw in our piece, kind of pulling back the curtain on the science to show how they've really examined this hidden masterpiece.
Very cool stuff. Thank you so much, Mark. And when the curtain is pulled back, you can read about it on newsworks.org/Delaware. To learn about events at Winterthur, you can visit them online at winterthur.org.